Hey guys, welcome to Force on Force Fridays. We have Dora with us, who you've seen in videos, and we have Charles for the first time appearing on camera here. He's normally behind the camera, he's our director of photography. But the reason why we're bringing Charles on here right now is because this Force on Force Fridays is going to be a little different, because we've read the comments and we've done a lot of scenarios, but it's usually me in the scenario, and I've had training. So Charles he's been to a lot of classes, but in terms of actual practice, doesn't have much training. Would you agree, Charles, that your training is about kind of like average gun owner? Maybe how many times have you shot a pistol in a year?
Probably like 500 rounds.
500 rounds the last year, and maybe that's more than the average owner, I don't know, but 500 rounds, not that much when it comes to actually ingraining skills in your subconscious. So we are going to put Charles in a very, very simple scenario slash exercise. It's not a full-blown scenario, and see how he does, right? So he's going to be that concealed carrier, and we'll take it from there. We'll circle back to you guys with some learning lessons from that. We'll explain exactly what happened, and yeah, we'll see how Charles performs.
You ever been in a Force on Force?
No, this is going to be my first time.
Force on Force virgin.
Yeah, exactly. Force on Force virgin. I've always been
Well, we're going to make it special for you, I promise, okay? I got something for you, okay?
All right, thanks, Seth.
All right.
Dora, you ready? Yeah. Charles, you ready?
Yep.
All right, go!
Really? What? Oh, come on! Really? Oh, jeez! All right, well, first and foremost, I think the first thing we can take away from this is that if you do not maintain your porta-john, it drives people crazy. Because I was having a nice day, pretty normal day. I went in there, I don't know what happened, but it really brought it out of me, which led us right into the drill. Obviously, if you guys watched, we put Charles through the 21-foot drill. Saw somebody having a conniption fit. He stood his ground, just kind of observing. Then all of a sudden he got rushed. I had a weapon, and well, yeah, it's according, Charles. What'd you think?
That was actually my first Force on Force scenario ever. I've filmed a lot of them, but being in it, it kind of gives you a different perspective. But yeah, I definitely think it was a crappy situation to be in, and I think I got some accurate shots on you, but you definitely were super close to me. So if that was a real scenario, I think that you might have actually reached me.
Yeah, this was a deadly weapon, a machete. And just to be very clear, so this was not really a full-blown scenario. It's more of an exercise, just testing out, as Dora mentioned, the 21-foot rule, as many of you have heard. And you may have noticed, or maybe not, Charles, again, is not a concealed carry, doesn't really practice a lot, so we gave him a outside the waistband holster and allowed him to put his shirt over it. So it was a little bit easier draw. But he did get shots on door, center mass. Notice then there's a couple of learning points here. The main one, though, is going to be what Charles had mentioned, is door was really close. And I think that if that was maybe a different concealed carry and you didn't really practice, maybe it'd take you longer to get that firearm out. And that is movement. And which way did you move?
I think I moved backwards. So he was coming towards me, so naturally I wanted to kind of get away from him and kind of create distance backwards, like go away from the threat.
When 21 feet's not enough, back up and get some more real estate. Hey, wait for him.
So the one thing,
tell him not to back up. So
he naturally backed up, but as we teach in our Force on Force classes, it's not really, you're going to do what you naturally do, but if you train this, if that was a machete, if Dora had a machete, and maybe, those shots, because as you've probably seen some videos, people get shot with 9mm or pistol rounds and they don't automatically go down. And Dora, I know you know this as well. And so it's something that if it was a machete, Charles could have gotten really hurt, right? So the one thing that we teach is to move, and I know Charles has seen this, but it didn't happen because he hasn't been trained, is to move laterally, right? And so, Dora, if I could use you here. So we're just gonna walk this through so you can see if Dora was over there running towards me, instead of backing up this way, where you can catch me, I'm going to move sideways, and Charles would want to move sideways. Go ahead, Dora. Where I can keep the space, get my gun out, and then possibly engage.
Yeah, it forces me to have to change direction, and when someone is belligerent and going all out, changing direction's a lot harder than it looks, and it slows them down.
And the second takeaway was really about how things happen so fast, and 21 feet is not a lot of room. Charles was prepped. He knew this exercise was happening. He didn't know that it was the 21-foot rule, but he knew that someone was going to attack him. Something was going to happen. So he had, you know, his spidey senses were on. But as you can tell, Dora was within, I don't know how many feet, Charles?
Probably like a foot. Like he was.
Yeah, he was literally a foot, right? So if he didn't know that this was happening, Dora wasn't going to attack him, he could have been right on Charles. So things happen really fast, and 21 feet is not a lot.
There's actually a third takeaway that we like to ask students when they go through this for the first time. Charles.
Yeah.
Sights. Did you see them?
Definitely not. I did not see them at all.
Yeah.
So it's weird. You know, I always edit and I always talk about this in all of our force on force classes. But as you're coming to me so fast, I just kind of point shooted and just looked over my sights the whole time.
Yeah, that's why the importance of muscle memory and keeping those fundamentals tight that can save you.
Yep, it's something that you're always going to, we're not going to go too in the weeds, but you always want to train to use your sights. And when you get to a certain level, you're always going to get some kind of reference point. You're not shooting blindly. Don't get us wrong here. You're not shooting blindly. But the idea of you getting that crystal clear front sight or red dot, it won't happen at this distance, and when things happen super fast and you're surprised. So the top 3 takeaways from this Force on Force Fridays is that 1, if someone is chasing after you, you know, within 21 feet or any distance really, lateral movement is better than backpedaling in terms of a tactical movement here. You have more space to get your gun out. 2, things happen really fast. 21 feet is not really that large of a distance, and someone can close that distance very quickly, so you need to be ready. And number 3, as Charles said, you won't necessarily see your sights. So just be prepared for that. You have to practice a lot so that you have good natural point of aim, you have a good index, and ultimately you'll get a reference on your sights if you train a lot.
All right, so that was Charles' first Force on Force run. There'll be many more. All right, hope you guys liked the video. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe.
See you guys next week.